alertness accomplish others' good. This is the practice of bodhisattvas. To remove the suffering of limitless beings, understanding the purity of the three spheres, dedicate the virtue for making such effort to enlightenment. This is the practice of bodhisattvas. For all who want to train on the bodhisattva path, I have written the 37 practices of bodhisattvas, following what has been said by the excellent ones on the meaning of the sutras, tantras, and treatises. Though not poetically pleasing to scholars, owing to my poor intelligence and lack of learning, I've relied on the sutras and the words of the excellent, so I think these bodhisattva practices are without error. However, as the great deeds of bodhisattvas are hard to fathom for one of my poor intelligence, I beg the excellent to forgive all faults, such as contradictions and non sequiturs. Through the virtue from this, may all living beings gain the ultimate and conventional altruistic intention, and thereby become like the protector Chenrezig, who dwells in neither extreme, not in the world nor in peace. So again, anybody who doesn't have one of these little books, please feel free to take one. The White Lotus's gift to you and support for your practice. This poem was written by a Tibetan monk, I think in the 1300s, 1200s. It's one of our great teachers, Garam Rinpoche, has said that it's like the essence of a longer book that Khenpo is going to be teaching on. So check your emails, because he's going to be teaching next month, after, I can't remember, but it's on our formal schedule, on Shantideva's entering the Bodhisattva path. Shantideva was a great Indian monk in the 400s, 500s, something like that. And he wrote a book called Entering the Bodhisattva Path, and the Tibetans consider it the greatest book in Sanskrit about conduct that came out of India. So the Dalai Lama says it's his favorite book. In this book, this little poem is kind of like the nub of that. Khenpo is going to be teaching on it. It's truly wonderful and helpful. But this book is very great, Garam Rinpoche says, because for one thing, it's pretty simple to approach. People can feel overwhelmed with all the various methods of Tibetan Buddhism. In a way, Tibetan Buddhism is a misnomer because it's just Buddhism. But what's special about Tibet is that they preserved the full range of Buddhism as it had developed in India for 1,500 years. So the peak of Buddhist cultural development in India was transmitted over hundreds of years to Tibet. And Tibet's relative isolation has been a very positive thing because they preserved the whole thing. What does that mean? It means, if you go to a particular practice or something, and maybe it somehow doesn't resonate for you. But the greatness of Buddhism is that there are 84,000 different practices. As long as you have this fundamental belief, or at least you're willing to give it credence, that the Buddha was not mistaken, that the Buddha wasn't crazy, he wasn't drunk, and that when he said every one of us has Buddha nature, and that can be developed to the same degree that the Buddha developed and experienced it. As long as we have that faith, then you'll find what path you need. But the greatness of here is that there's just this, tremendous display. And, I often speak here as a Westerner who kind of stumbled and stumbles with all of this. And there's just we have such great fortune because, they talk about a lineage of realization, a lineage of blessing, a lineage of the scriptural traditions. And so that's why we're fortunate, because instead of Americans kind of banging around trying to reinvent the wheel, we have something that's worked for 2,600 years, and you can see the results, even like publicly from a distance, the Dalai Lama. We have two great examples here that have been here. One, our main teacher is Garam Rinpoche, and then also His Holiness Chetsang Rinpoche. I mean, the kindness that they have given to us, we haven't given anything to them. So it's really wonderful. And so that's why we were so fortunate to be able to get Khenpo here, because as a Khenpo literally means one who knows, it's a title. Sometimes used to be mistranslated as abbot, like of a monastery. But it's one who holds the scriptural transmission. And this is great because these scriptures, these words, these teachings, are like guideposts for us. They keep us on the path. And so it's this active process of looking at your mind and acting, speaking. And then, it's said that the Buddha is the great physician, the Dharma is the medicine, and the Sangha are the nurses. So, you're in the hospital, you need that doctor, you need the medicine, but you need the nurse to tell you, get back in bed. You can't be running around yet. You've got a broken leg. So it's tremendously helpful, tremendously supportive. And the big thing is that it works. We've got 2,600 years of results in wildly different cultures. So it's not a cultural thing. You can't find cultures in vibe that are sort of more different than China and India. And yet you read those texts, it's the same, you might say. So anyway, I just wanted to do that little preface for some new people here today. Because we're just very lucky to have all this coming together, that there's actually a resource, All right, thank you, Khenpo, putting up with my hot words.
Hmm? Hello, hello. It's okay. Okay. Well, do you remember today what is we need to talk?
Yeah, we're on, Khenpo's been teaching on this title. The Buddha was often addressed as the Bhagavan, and he broke down the two syllables, one meaning all the positive qualities that are developed, and then the negatives that need to be conquered or removed. So he's been talking about the four negatives at this point, the maras, and these are often termed as demons. And he's gone through three, I think, of the four. So last week we talked about the demon of the son of the gods, and things that distract you, seemingly positive, but are distracting you in a negative way, actually, subtly. But I think what we haven't done, Khenpo, was we did the afflictions, the poisonous negative emotions. We did the skandhas.
Four maras.
Maras, yeah, the skandhas. And we
Form,
did, yeah.
Feeling. Perception. And the mental information.
Yeah. And then lastly, the consciousness.
This is this is not this one. Now this is part of how to say Mara, demon of the form.
Mm-hmm.
So now demon of form aggregate already done.
Mm-hmm.
Demon of the son of the god.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Last Sunday.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
To understand.
And
I think
demons of the negative emotion.
Yeah.
Your mood. And then today, I think so maybe demon of the Lord Death.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Because Bhagavat, So Bhagavati, Bhanga means destroyer, four things. The word meaning, if you kill it in your mind, and then you no need to take many description things. Destroyer. And then your second, what is destroyer? Buddha was. Right? And the second thing, va, banga, when is has or exists excellent six qualities, six excellent qualities.
Six excellent qualities.
It is easy when ta or bhagavati, ta, ti doesn't much matter, this preposition something. But last word ta, bhagavata, ta is free from two extremes. Right? So that is Buddha's definition or Buddha's contribute or Buddha's how to say qualities and essence, whatever you want to call. Everything's there. Right?
Yeah.
So because our main purpose is we need free from suffering. That's all. Yes or no? Right? Everybody need liberated from suffering. Or if you want to say samsara, or you want to say, if you want to say this universal, or this world, whatever you want to say, or from this earth, right? We think something free from suffering is something specific locations. We think that way, we believe that way. But reality, real free from suffering is our mind. Wherever you want to stay, you can stay. If we can be able to eradicate our ego grasping, that's all, you're done. You can see anywhere, you can live anywhere. Definitely sure nothing get your problem, suffering, complicated, trouble. Because you already throw the way, put the garbage, your ego grasping. All the source of the problems, the sufferings, you just take out rootless, full of rootless, and put the garbage. So there you no problem. That is Buddha did. So therefore Buddha got the name or title, Bhagavati. Nobody get that yet. My idea or my understanding. So, but we can get that if we make more effort and do the practice, right? So everybody has cause and condition. Therefore, we make that. We can do that. It is doable, right? But
doable, yeah.
Huh?
It's doable.
Doable. Yeah. Really, not far away. Just need, probably it's depending on intelligence and effort and how you practice. The Mullah Rebbe made it probably 12 years or 8 years. He didn't go anywhere from Tibet to any other foreign countries. No need to go. Just went to a Mount site, right? Under the cave.
In the cave on the mountainside.
I don't think dear Malareva bring something 1,000 rupees or dollars. Really, no money, no need. And he finally got the Bhagavad, destroyed for negative things, and got 6 excellent qualities and free from 2 extremes. So now you understand? So when you read these things, okay, where's the 37 practice? Here's Bhagava, right?
Right.
Right? And then you need to know, okay, Bhagava. And then if you're really interested, I want to become Bhagava. This is a final our goal. I mean, according to Buddhists, who you knows these things, great opportunity to get such a completely free from suffering stage. Right, Paula? You believe or not? Huh?
Also, it's wonderful about this because, you know, when I first was coming to Buddhism, and really not much study, but interest, the Bhagavati is translated usually as world honored one. And so that's a wonderful title, but it shows you how much meaning there is in the actual Sanskrit word, like you've been explaining. I mean, those 3 things is just tremendous to know. Better knowledge gives people more confidence because, you know, world honored one, it just sounds like, well, you know, we give politicians titles, we give everybody titles. Titles don't have much meaning, but the meaning behind world honored one, Bhagavati, you know, is profound.
Yeah, that's very important. Whatever reason, I don't know, but Sanskrit and Tibet very much matching. The meaning, actual meaning, and word to word meaning. Everything is really can translate completely nicely without error. So therefore, many scholars around the world, they say Tibet Buddhism is a little different the other any Buddhisms, any languages translation. Because from Sanskrit to into Tibet, right? When they translated 500 years ago, during the translation, starting beginning until completely end, 500 years. So now we are very fortunate because the AI translated 2 hours. Probably this is really magic in America, right? We are lucky or unlucky, I don't know really. If the perfect translation, we can say this is really fortunate. Or might be very, very, very mistake. Right? Or whatever, this is not topic for now. So you know, and then there says Tibet Buddhism, because of both of Sutra and Tantra, completely, the translation or translated completely without error. The name completely completed without error. That you understand that?
Yeah, no, that's right.
So that means some other translation, for example, in Chinese, the 65% not yet translate Sutra and Tantra. Therefore, not completed translation from Sanskrit, according to Sanskrit. Okay? And they're not without not error or mistaken.
Yeah, no, unmistaken.
Unmistaken. So, one thing, example, my understanding, the one sutra, scripture things, one volume, and Nirvana Sutta. When Tibetan translation time, this Nirvana Sutra was missing. They couldn't found in the Sanskrit and also how to say, or Bali, in the Bali both. And then later, Tibet scholar or translators translated the Nirvana Sutra from Chinese to Tibet. Okay. And then 100 years later, some Tibet scholar went to India and they just tried to search to find the only for Nirvana Sutra. Finally, they got from Sarnath
Mm.
in the version of Sanskrit.
Mm-hmm.
And then immediately after they translated into Tibet, one volume, right, Vala?
One volume.
The Nirvana Sutra. And then after that, they compared the Chinese version and Sanskrit is totally different.
Mm.
They're almost half or quarter half missing from Chinese to Tibet and from, how to say, these translation things.
Mm-hmm.
And then from Chinese to Tibet translation or version, okay, thank you, bye. That's all. I'm not going to explain much.
Right.
And then from Sanskrit and into Tibet, okay, welcome. Please stay here. That's all. So that's why completed without error
Mhm.
or unmistaken
Mhm.
Buddhism, both of Sutra and Tantra. Okay, this is just by the way talk. Okay, like whatever, like tea,
Mhm.
coffee, not actual food. Actual food right now we need to start here.
Mhm.
Okay, so everybody really even doesn't want to hear about death, right?
Right.
Right?
Right.
That's for sure.
Right.
Uh, so therefore, Buddha completely avoided death and birth. The birth and the death always come together.
Together.
If someone birth, definitely will become dead. Nobody can have, nobody here, if someone birth, they talk the birth, but they not die. Yeah, did you hear anything like that now so far? Since beginning, less this is samsara. Somewhere did you hear that? If someone already born, now I don't whatever age of the years, it doesn't matter, but still not dead. Like more than 200 years. Nagarjuna question like that before. Did anyone hear someone born not dead yet? Did you see or did you hear or you have any doubt? These three questions. If these three things, none of them with you, then definitely, since you're born, you will die.
Mhm.
That's for sure, right? But dying is no need to scare and fear. If you do the best, if you think positive, if you help others and be honest, do right things, tell the truth, you no need to scare to die. Moreover, you will be happy if you really itch enough. Just change the leg jacket. Everybody like to have new jacket, right? Nobody really boring to have the new jacket because new jacket makes more feel much better. And then if you're 95, 100 something years, you will have beautiful form. Just change your body. That's for sure. If you do now, in the according to real Buddhism, if you want to take the rebirth, very, if you want to, male boy will be handsome boy if you be patient day-to-day life. If you're taking rebirth, the female or girl, you will really pity God. We need this thing. So that is only cause, no need to do anything. You no need to make money. You just be patient with your family, with your parents, with your co-workers. That patience makes you will next life pretty, handsome, attractive, beautiful. You need it. Yes or no?
I agree.
That's for sure. Rogo laughing. You are my good friend. The laughing is two different laughing. Somebody watching laughing
Right.
is a different meaning. And thinking laughing is a different meaning.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, we need really that only patience. Take tolerance. Be patient. Patience is really, really wonderful situation. You just, try to be, how to say, maintain,
Maintain.
continue.
Yeah.
Not only somebody say, oh, this morning I did patient, but nothing happened. And nothing worked. And then afternoon, I want to give up. This is not really, you are not really, I mean, this you are means not necessary here, okay?
Right.
You are just word, okay? If you think that way, that's not smart person. Really. Try again and again. We need food every day. Nobody say, I yesterday have 3 meals, today no need. You need eat today. So therefore, you yesterday you did patient. Today, why you not? What you don't? You really want to be patient. If you good enough yesterday 3 times meal, today you no need to eat. Then you no need to be patient today. It's the same function and same thing, right? So therefore, we need patient practice every day, every single moment. The patient makes you really gorgeous life. And patient makes for others very inspiring to you later. And then you will become popular. You will become famous. We need, right?
Khenpo, you make me think too, the genius of patience, because not only making you better, right? But other people instantly.
Of course, both sides.
Immediately, the other person's
Yeah, of course,
benefited
that's right.
just because you're not doing.
That's for sure. We can see this immediately after, right? So starting training the patient, just someone criticizes you in person, be quiet. This is one good thing. Try to not really show react and attitude. But your mind is burning, I know, everybody says. Just go after 5 minutes, 10 minutes, think disadvantage of the anger.
Mm.
And then your mind is completely light. Do this again and again. Then one time, in person, if someone criticizes you, not really hear what they're talking about, because your mind is completely peaceful. You're already familiar with the patient. Patient become your good friend already, right? But today, tomorrow, 1 month, 2 months, could be difficult, but don't give up. Do again and again. You understand what I mean? This is the best way. That's for sure. No need to check in computer. You have experience. Do that. Right or wrong, then you will understand. Right? Okay. Therefore, we really scared to death and birth. So these Buddha already eradicate death and birth. That real death and birth means when people die and they're very scared and suffering, right? So what Buddha did, eradicate his ego. If there's no ego, there's no scare and no suffering, right? It doesn't mean really you need to disappear these universes. So you can take rebirth intentionally. You understand?
Intentionally,
consciously,
consciously.
by yourself, freely. This is very important. Buddha now, so many his manifestation around the world, all of the transcendent Bodhisattvas, they're taking birth in this samsara intentionally. Not really unintentionally, not over control by the negative emotions or afflictive emotions. You understand well? Huh? You need explanation for that?
Yeah, no, just that
So for example, for us, we don't know after death where we go, which forms taking rebirth again. For me, definitely, I'm not sure. Even I will take rebirth the human form and not, who knows? Animals, dogs, So funny thing is that in the ocean, so many different animals. Very long hand, and short hands, and a big mouth. So when people see it's very scared, who knows? It's depending my karma.
Yes.
What I'm doing right now, and what I've did previous many lives. You understand? So therefore, we are not free to taking rebirth. Just karmic blowing.
Just blowing is
bring
like
us
being blown in the wind.
But karmic makes us to taking rebirth. So therefore, that means you eradicate the death and the birth. For example, most of you know really the Garshan Rinpoche. Most are Sangha root guru, my understanding. So, for example, Rinpoche has choice when he want to die and which form he need to take rebirth intentionally. Where? Like place. America, India, South America, Mexico, Japan, Switzerland. Many people are talking about Switzerland and Norway. I do, and Japan. Very famous countries. And His Holiness Dalai Lama already mentioned if the Buddhists or especially Tibet people need my next Dalai Lama, I will definitely take rebirth free nation countries. One times India, one times maybe America or India, both countries name came. Right? So they have, how to say, they have choice intentionally, and they have freedom to take the rebirth wherever, and whichever forms. You read the Buddha's biography. The Buddha was struck the form, animals, and the hell realms beings form to help other in the down there. We can do that. And then we using the many words, right? English, like wonderful, amazing, this is magic, or this is a miracle. So many things. There will be happen. Real one. Okay, you have question? Make killer again. Last part I'm missing you.
Yeah. Make what in this lifetime?
Cause and effect.
Yeah.
Even for somebody who doesn't believe in future lives or past lives, is it possible in this lifetime to see cause and effect like that, like you talk about?
It's different. They want to change the mindset and they study or not. If they don't believe, completely lock their mind, it's difficult this life to understand. But they will taking rebirth again and again, taking rebirth again and again. Karmic system is just law of nature. This is not religious things. This is nobody created for situation like that.
It's an excellent question.
Is it at all like seeing how the mind continues into anger or hatred or greed if one does not practice or does not end it, versus if one practices and brings hatred or clinging to an end? The causes are done, so there's no suffering left.
What do you think that way? You believe that or not? I mean, here things. We no need to think this is Buddhism, this is Christianity, this is Hinduism. No need to think religions matter. Okay. Their anger, because basis on your perspective or nature, everybody want to be happy. That's for sure, no question, right? Everybody, not only human being, all the sentient beings, same perspectives, need happiness, no need suffering. We no need to ask anywhere else for about all the sentient beings, the same perspectives, need happiness, no need suffering. That's for sure. No need to reason, no need to prove. This is for sure, right? So things here, the hatred, anger makes you happy or makes you unhappy. It's suffering. You think that way. And then you can do that, only you can do. Nobody can help you, your anger, probably much. You can help yourself. If you anger and hatred makes you unhappy, just let go them. Why are you holding? The anger and hatred makes you suffering and still you hold. Therefore, Buddha said, suffering never hold us. We are holding the suffering. You keep the anger and hatred, they make suffering. Just think, disadvantage of the anger and hatred, your mind is relaxed. Okay.
Also, things develop. I mean, for us in our culture, we are not conditioned to believe in rebirth. And sometimes it becomes kind of an obstacle for people, because we think, oh, my goodness. But, just my own poor example, life just seemed like such a bad deal. We were all going to die. People are running around. Don't they know they're going to die? What's the point of doing any of this? Like that old bumper sticker from the 60s. You're not in the 60s, I know.
Oh, time is over, Bala.
It's like he who dies with the most stuff wins. When you see the falsity of that there has to be more than just accumulating stuff, right? So when you see kind of basically the suffering of life and the imperfection of it, and then how that affects you, your own psychological, it's just speaking for myself now, not for you. So what do you do? Well, I heard Buddha's teaching, all life is dissatisfactory. That was what I was experiencing. So try this. This might end up with some better happiness, stability, whatever. So you start meditating. And with the meditation, you actually see that process of stuff coming up. So you see cause and effect. The angry thought comes up and you see how you act out of it. And there's a little bit of confidence, or you wouldn't be doing that at all. But you realize, oh, if there's something here, okay, so I keep meditating. With the natural stability that comes just from looking at your own chaos That's the miracle of it. I noticed it myself that every time I was like in class or something, taking notes in college, my knee was always, you see this with people, your knee is, it's nervously just bouncing all the time. And it shocked me that after a couple of months, that wasn't happening anymore. At first, I didn't even notice it was gone. So it's kind of like that. The ignorance, the suffering is gone. It's like you have a dental pain and that's all you can think about, but then it's gone. And it's not that it's, it's just wonderful not being there, but that's not a negative. It's actually totally a blissful positive. So with rebirth, this process of one thought leading to another, to another, to another, when one discovers that the mind is deathless, is beyond birth and death, like Khenpo was talking about, then suddenly, oh, the idea that maybe this dynamic process, in other words, many of us have this idea with rebirth, even the reincarnation, for instance, we often say that, again, incarnate, into a body. So we have this Hindu idea that there's something that's jumping from body to body to body, and you can kind of reject that intellectually. But the Buddhist idea is more subtle than that. It's like a candle flame passing to the next candle. So that second flame, is it the same? Is it different? Well, it's neither. So it's a dynamic process. The other example they use is a stamp like a seal. The seal hits hot wax. So the image is going from that seal into the hot wax, but what passed over? Nothing. So this is the egolessness of actual existence, which is dynamic. And when Khenpo talked about, can you imagine, you don't have to try to jump there. It will develop naturally. But nonetheless, if you have that kind of, think of that, what he's describing of the Bodhisattva, you have choice, that's empowerment. You're, instead of us just being blown around like the leaves in the wind, suddenly we have the ability to affect reality. It's beyond wonderful. But nonetheless, it's good to doubt. Just keep going.
Right. So just, few words, conclusions for these things, but not done yet in the war.
Yeah.
But just for today, the deathless and birthless means if you have control, or you can take the rebirth intentionally anywhere by your choice. That is called the deathless and birthless.
Mm.
You have to know, okay? And the second thing, okay. So go ahead. That means you can control for taking birth and death, because death time and birth time you have no suffering, because you already eradicated your ego completely, and so you already transcendent from samsara or suffering. So therefore, wherever you want to take the rebirth again and again, anywhere, anytime, you can do, right? So for example, you have in the summertime, you want to go to New York City, you can go anytime, right? You have everything, you have car, you have money, you have time freely. You no need to ask anywhere, I'm going to New York City, please can go or not, right? You can go anytime. Your question or comment?
Just really quickly, a comment to continue in the conversation. I really wanted to direct really, really good question. I sort of struggled a lot with, not struggled, but had similar questions a lot when I was younger. Because when I was younger, I had total faith in like cause and effect, and it seemed very apparent to me, like the antidote to anger being patience. And if you actually just practice that, it becomes very apparent that like anger in your own mind, in your current life, in your current mind stream and situation, can be dissipated through just patience. And that's what the Buddha taught. But like going back to Frank's analogy of the stamp and the rubber, or whatever you're sealing, like nothing's being but in our mind, in our Western mind, actually there is heat. We can measure and we can literally write down and notify that there is something being transferred there. And I think in our mind, it's just, we can look at all of these things that are cause and effect in our own life, but eventually I think just removing ourselves from the idea of reincarnation for a second, there are things, even you'll find that like, oh, well, I'm removing all of the anger from my life, but I'm still having anger. Like I'm practicing patience almost perfectly, but anger arises. And I think the thing that is inherent to life, the law of nature, is that like there are actually deeper karmic winds that actually have been like attributed from past lives that may cause those hardships. And if you're too focused on just this single life and you're just like, if I have been truly living my best life and eradicating all these things, then why do I have this sickness? You know, like, why do I feel so downtrodden, even though I'm feeling, you know, I'm practicing perfectly, you know? And I think that if you meet a high lama that you really trust and they just kind of tell you, well, it's because of past lives and that's just how it is, you know, it's hard to accept, but like that's a very important understanding in order to understand the complete like aspects of karma, cause and effect. And you know, it's easy to think of it conceptually and intellectually as just like, okay, this is how I can parse it and be able to interact with it in my own life for myself, like betterment. But like, what is self betterment if not for the benefit of all sentient beings? So like, as you come to practice more perfectly, it becomes just more apparent. It's not really faith, but a learned understanding that that's just how it is. And the two are interrelated. But that's all I wanted to say. Thank you. Sorry for that.
Thank you. Okay, great.
Okay.
Great.
3 minutes.